Good morning. Welcome, everybody. We're super excited that you got to join us here today. I'm here with Petro IT, and we're doing yet another PODScast. We know we love it. So we're stoked that you could join us. We're glad that we're going to be recording this so that it's going to be available on our YouTube channel as well as our LMS later as well. And so today we got Petro IT talking about using their verified tools and how that's going to help you with your TVC goals. So how you can use the PODS database and their tools for your TVC goals. So before we get introed into our beautiful looking panel today, I do want to do a quick safety moment and go over just real quick that, guys, it's getting hot out there. My dog wants to go for a walk every day at 3 o'clock, and then he doesn't. I don't know. It's like he's a goldfish. He doesn't realize that it's going to be hot again, right? And so I really wish that I could train him to go walk later in the evening, but he has me trained. It's exactly the opposite. So there's some things that you need to keep in mind to make sure that you can beat the heat, right? Like if you're going to get outside, please get some shade. Make sure that you stay cool. Make sure that you hydrate. You gotta hydrate, homies. You gotta overhydrate, right? And you make sure you get some rest and dress appropriately, right? So wear sunscreen, and then that way you can wear some cool clothing as well. So you can also do some SPF barrier clothing as well, like rash guards. Those are really good to get out there and wear while it's really super hot. Now, I know some of our friends all over the world, it's not as hot as it is here in Houston, Texas over there, but it's still a good idea to make sure that you stay hydrated. So, okay, we are going to be recording this podcast. We are going to be giving you some polling questions as well. So please, we love audience participation here. So please go ahead and answer those polls when they come up in your monitor. Now, sometimes if you're using a secondary or a tertiary monitor, they may not work out very well. So try to keep the polling questions in your primary monitor. And then also, if you have any questions, please put those into the chat or into the questions box. And if we don't get a chance to get to those in the beginning or throughout the podcast today, we will absolutely get back with you afterwards and get you those questions answered. So here's some of the things that this crew is going to be getting into today, right? They're going to be talking about how Verified automates rule-based validation against the PODS database and requirements, especially with that integrity regulatory module that we have out. The role of traceability and keeping that full audit trail. And then also they're going to get into some LLM powered querying, which is pretty cool. Everybody's using AI nowadays. And then also how AI is helping with document linking and connecting your project documentation directly to your PODS database for your TVC requirements. I know Rick moderated a panel at the spring forum that we just had last month about some new requirements that PHMSA has out, and about how if you do have all that TVC documentation, then you can avoid having to go get a special permit to run a pig in some of the class locations out there. So be looking forward to a recap on that, and we're going to be putting out some information about that as well. So, and then of course, they're going to get into some real world impacts about less rework and faster acceptance cycles. So without further ado, I want to give you a quick overview of PODS, and then I'm going to ask our panel to give us an overview on them. We are PODS. We are three things. We are the three pillars of PODS, right? We are number one, community, right? We just got a really cool Make a Difference award from Esri, which was awesome. We're super stoked about that. And then, we're growing by leaps and bounds. We're now in 40 countries doing some incredible stuff. Number two is the data model, right? Of course, that everybody, all of the operators need that to be able to organize and bring good data governance to their operations. And then three, we are training and resources. I want to give a quick shout out to Natalie, who is one of our first three people to get PODS certified. We have a new PODS certification on our learning management system. So go ahead and check that out and make sure that you go in and get your certification. So a bunch of training modules on there for a whole bunch of stuff. that is very valuable to people, as well as all these podcasts. So with that, want to say big thank you so much to all of you for being here again. Make sure you participate. And then I am going to hand it over to Natalie and Rick to go ahead and introduce themselves.
So, hey guys, I'm Rick Roberts. I'm a director and principal consultant here at Petro IT. Monique likes to kid about this, but I've been in the industry for a little bit over 50 years, so I've been around a while. So go ahead, Natalie.
Hi, Natalie Klesnick, and I am the GIS specialist here at Petro IT. I've been at Petro IT about 9 years and in the industry about 20.
Yeah, Rick was putting in pipe when Jesus was making cabinets. Now Natalie's a lot younger, but we're super excited. Natalie, any feedback for us on getting your pod certification? What'd you think? Was it really hard? Do you encourage others to try it as well?
I definitely encourage everyone to give it a try. I would say it's not easy. You definitely need to watch the modules. You're probably not going to get away with doing it without that.
Well, good. I'm glad because we want to strive for greatness, right? And we want to make sure that getting that pod certification really helps you to stand out from the pack. So for sure. All right. Well, enough of all of that stuff. You guys, please take it away.
Okay, well, thanks guys for tuning in. I'm going to turn my camera off where I can get on the right screen here, so bear with me. Okay, today we're going to be diving into how Verified, now for clarification, Verified is a tool that we built here at Petro IT. So we're going to be diving into how Verified and PODS work together to help pipeline organizations achieve their TVC goals. We're going to walk through how AI-driven validation is transforming the way our teams handle that pipeline data quality and compliance. So let's get into it. All right, so let's start with segment one. We're going to understand what Verified solves. And first, to do that, we need to understand what TVC demands and why it so often creates delays and frictions in pipeline projects. So what TVC actually means. So most of you know, but for anyone new to the industry, TVC stands for traceable, verifiable, and complete. And each word carries its weight. A little bit of a caveat to that is the TVC, and it's funny when we're talking of kicking this around yesterday, some board members and committee members. TVC's kind of dominated the industry for the past few years because of the gas mega rules. But TVC is much deeper than that. It's not just your material records. It's your construction records, your welding, your coding, et cetera, et cetera. So what we're going to be covering, or what this tool covers, is the whole gamut, not just your TVC rules. So like I said, each word carries real weight. Traceable means documents must connect back to their original sources. Material test reports, mill certs, construction logs, welder certs, whatever it may be. Verifiable means that the data has been confirmed by an authorized personnel or is technically sound. So somebody signed off on that document. And complete means that every component needed to verify the safety is present. So you have your pipe grade, you have your wall thickness, you have your yield strength with no gaps in that. So these aren't just check boxes. Each one of them has airtight, or needs to be airtight for your program to meet regulatory standards.
And Rick, one of the things I wanted to bring up as a reminder, just because it's been a while since they first issued the gas mega rule, which brought, the term TVC into our lives, is that we're only 2 years away from the deadline for operators to have 50% or more of their systems TVC'd. So that's just, 2 years away. And while that may seem like a long time, it takes quite a while to get all this stuff done. So, I know you guys are streamlining a lot of it and making it go a lot faster, but I just want to remind everybody again, we're only 2 years away from that first deadline of 50%. And then the second deadline of 100% is going to be in 2035. So, if you haven't already started, you really got to get rocking and rolling on this stuff, right, Rick?
Yeah, thanks for that, Monique. Yeah, we'll probably have some more deadlines before then too.
Yeah.
So, okay. So what are the core requirements for compliance? So what does that look like in practice? So documentation is required across the entire life cycle of an asset. So that means material traceability, paperwork proving the physical specs and the manufacturing or manufacturing origin of the steel, pipe grades, seam types. It means validated pressure testing records that establish safe operating baselines. It means MAOP reconfirmation, solid records to support the maximum operating pressure of the pipeline. It is that pipeline is legally allowed to operate at. And where the legacy records are missing, operators need to document alternative verification methods like inline inspection, material sampling, etc. Any gap in the chain can stall a project or trigger a regulatory finding. So why TVC compliance still creates bottlenecks? So here's the reality of where we are with most teams or where we run into trouble. We have large volumes of disconnected project documentation. Now, you guys are going to start recognizing all this here. Manual efforts to associate those documents with specific pipeline assets. The difficulty of validating completeness and traceability across thousands of records when they hit the office. Inconsistent submission formats from vendors. So you got vendor A submitting something, vendor B submitting something, they're different. And then slow, labor-intensive audit prep. So these problems compound on each other, and this is exactly where verified plus the AI automation steps to address each one directly.
All right, so Rick, I'm going to go ahead and launch y'all's first poll about what is your biggest TVC compliance bottleneck today. So everybody, don't forget that if you have your screen in your secondary or your tertiary monitor, it might not work out as well if you can bring it into your primary monitor. So you have options here of disconnected project documentation, manual linking to pipeline assets, validating completeness and traceability, inconsistent vendor submissions, and then are all of the above, right? So if you can go ahead and pick out your answer to that one and hit submit, we should be able to see to where everybody is able to see the responses of those polls. So just on first reaction, we're seeing 53, over half is it all of the above, right? So I think that was probably, yeah. Second only to disconnected project documentation, right? And so what's cool about that, what I'm excited about is that Rick, you just volunteered to chair our new working group that we're going to launch here pretty soon at PODS about we're going to do a construction and project data deliverables standard or template, right? Some guidelines that all of our operator members have asked for so that that can go out with the RFPs before people start building pipelines so that exactly, you're going to tell your contractors, these are the data attributes that I want based on this type of project, and here's how I want it. So we're hoping that we as an industry can help to streamline that. I know we're working with Aploca and API and PRCI and all of that. So I'm grateful, Rick, that you're going to be leading the charge there. And
yeah, thank you, Monique.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually,
But it's
I
a
was gonna,
voluntold thing, right? No.
yeah. I was gonna add to what you guys are gonna gain, or a lot of you guys will gain from this is international perspective. It's really, I learned so much working in the international community about different ways or different things that they collect that you may not be collecting here in the US. So it's a great learning process.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, Monique and Rick. Appreciate that. So now that we've set the stage for the problem, let's talk about the solution, Verified. So Verified is a cloud-based data quality solution built specifically for pipeline organizations. Its job is to help teams verify, validate, and trust their data before it ever enters enterprise systems. The platform is PODS compliant, audit ready, and designed to produce data that's fit for downstream use. The four capabilities define it. There's rule-based validation against PODS regulatory and client standards, a purpose-built PODS data model, compliance automation that reduces manual review and human error, and gap reporting that flags and highlights data and document errors. So the philosophy behind it is simple. You verify the data, you validate it against PODS, and you trust what moves downstream. So what does that actually look like to achieve TVC compliance? The approach breaks down into 4 steps, each building on the last. In step 1, you verify, and this is where it all begins, confirming your data is structurally sound and aligned with PODS specifications before anything else happens. If you get this right, everything downstream becomes much more manageable. In step 2, you validate. With your structure confirmed, automated rule engines take over, checking data against regulatory frameworks, client standards, and internal QA/QC criteria simultaneously. So there's no manual pass-through required. In step 3, you comply. Compliance isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing state. This step is about maintaining continuous audit readiness through full traceability and documented validation evidence, so the record is always current. And step 4, finally, you deliver pre-certified data packages that accelerate project acceptance and eliminate costly rework that comes from catching issues late in the process. Together, these 4 steps form a repeatable, scalable path to TVC, one that keeps data trustworthy from intake all the way through to final delivery. So here's how Verified actually works. First, PODS data model rule sets are loaded, and then on top of that, you add structural and business rules and spatial rules. And just so you know, this is a one-time data model setup. And so once it's set up, you can submit your GDB, MDB, or CSV files for validation. And then the automated engine rule fires, checking the data against the PODS schema, regulatory frameworks, and client-defined standards. And in the end, clean PODS compliant data sets are certified as audit ready and pushed to enterprise downstream systems. So importantly here, you need to know that role-based access keeps your GIS analysts, gatekeepers, and managers scoped to only what they need to see. And every rule check, exception, and approval is logged. So there's full traceability at every step. Let's see what this looks like inside the product. So this is a verified gap report. And on the left-hand side, the summary lists all the feature classes with error types and counts. Each feature class that contains errors gets its own tab. You can see an example on the right-hand side. That's complete with highlighted issues and clear error messages. So you can see at a glance where the issues are, like missing values or domain errors and so on. You can export it to Excel instantly and send it back for correction at the vendor. There's no digging through spreadsheets, no manual cross-referencing. It's immediate visibility of your data. And beyond the gap report, inside the actual verified platform, the errors are flagged in real time, and you can see them called out here with the red marks. See this domain error on the right? A specification was probably dragged down in Excel, but did a fill instead of a copy, and this was caught instantly. So in the case of like a 10,000 row table, human eyes would never catch something like that. Also, you see on the other side, overlaps, errors, missing mandatory attributes, domain errors, everyone is surfaced instantly. There's no waiting and no manual checking. So your team knows exactly what needs to be fixed before anything moves forward. So Verified plugs into the workflows you already have. It aligns natively with PODS data models and vendor submission formats. Pre-validated data flows cleanly into GIS and asset management systems. And vendor submission, ingestion, validation, and acceptance is all streamlined through a single platform. The downstream impact is real, less rework through automated pre-validation and faster acceptance cycles for PODS-based deliveries. And teams can actually trust what's entering their enterprise systems. So with all that in mind, let's do another quick poll.
All right. So we got, how do you currently validate PODS data before posting it to your enterprise database? This is a major item and issue that a lot of operators can sometimes struggle with. So you have 4 different options here on this one: manual review, spreadsheets and macros, our custom scripts, a dedicated validation tool or software. Now, please note, you can choose more than one here. So I know a lot of people, unfortunately, have different databases and segmented databases, and so some and different divisions of your organization as well. So some people are going to use custom scripts, but they're also going to do a manual review, right? It just depends on your operation. So we're just trying to get a little bit of feedback on here about all of the different ways that you validate your PODS data before posting it to your enterprise database. So again, you should be able to answer these in the poll here on here, and we should be able to get some real-time responses. So Natalie, it looks like overwhelmingly it's manual review, which, man, that is just so prone to errors, right?
That's tough, yeah.
It's always good to have what do we say, trust but verify, right? I mean, you want to make sure that everything's verified. You want to be able to trust it. So but you gotta have some tools in there to help out, right?
Yeah, the thing about manual review is when humans are doing it, every person's going to look at different things at different times, and it's not, repeatable.
Right. Somebody's going to be like, oh, well, this pressure test is okay, but then somebody else is going to be like, well, wait a second, they didn't run the pressure test for 8 hours, so is it really okay, right?
Yep. And Natalie, I had a question where you were showing the red arrows inside the application. Can you talk just a second about what you can do with those?
Yeah, sure. So you're able to come in here and you can individually click on a record and fix it here in the software. And if it's more of a mass, fix situation, you're also able to download a CSV version of the data and make your updates within it and then re-upload it, and it replaces the data and revalidates.
Yep, thanks.
Are we done with the poll?
Yes, all done. Sorry about that.
All right, just making sure. All right, so segment 3. So we've covered what Verified does as data quality and compliance platform. Now let's talk about the intelligence layer, the AI document linking and natural language querying built on top of that PODS validation foundation. So this is where Verified moves beyond a QA/QC tool and into something more powerful. By combining PODS validation with AI-driven automation, you get end-to-end compliance that's not just accurate, but intelligent. Large language model workflows improve access to infrastructure data across teams. And AI interprets and classifies project documentation at scale. So there's fewer manual cycles, faster acceptance of PODS-based deliverables, and it connects all into a searchable, traceable compliance ecosystem. So this is a shift from just checking data to actually understanding it. One of the most practical capabilities here is our natural language querying. So instead of requiring SQL or specialized database expertise, any team member can ask questions in plain language. The AI converts that plain language into a precise SQL query against the PODS dataset and returns the results. This democratizes access to complex data. Your integrity engineers, your compliance managers, your project leads, anyone can explore the data without waiting on like a database specialist. And that's a significant acceleration for your investigations, compliance reporting, and validation workflows. So here's the interface in action. Sort of in the middle there, you enter your natural language question, and then you click to generate the SQL code, and it appears up in the top box. And then once you run, the query results appear underneath the SQL for the natural language section for full transparency. So any of these queries can be saved and used as common lookups for other team members or just as something you need to do commonly on a project. So it's designed to be intuitive and fast with no barrier to access for non-technical users. So that was our LLM section, and now let's talk about our document linking. So this is a game changer for TVC compliance. It starts with project documents, as-builts, inspection records, things like that. AI reads and interprets these documents. It extracts the metadata like pipeline IDs or stationing, asset references, and then automatically connects those documents directly to the corresponding PODS pipeline records. And the result is a traceable, searchable, auditable compliance history. So Verified provides comprehensive document to asset alignment, delivering TVC traceability at enterprise scale. So the types of documents that the AI handles include material test reports, non-destructive testing records, and hydrostatic test documentation. These are often the hardest documents to manage because of, varied formats and inconsistent naming conventions. So AI document linking automates all of that. So here's just a little run through of how the AI document linking works. So the user uploads a document and it starts processing. The linked attribute is selected and the linking suggestions are made and reviewed. You can also view the document to verify the information is correct. Here we're looking for the heat numbers and comparing them to the extracted heat numbers that was found in the AI run. So here is all of the records that it suggests that we link based on those 2 heat numbers that it found. With one click, we confirm and link, and the document linking process starts. And I just, before this goes away, want to show that it did extract all of these different attributes from the document for you to be able to see and verify within your data. And so finally, we have 169 pipe link records that were created. Actually, one document was created and 169 pipe link cross-reference records were created. And so work that traditionally would require hours of repetitive manual effort is completed in seconds. And this could save, days over the course of a project.
Yeah, Natalie, to be clear, this will take any type of document after the AI learns what the document is, correct?
That's correct. I was just given a few examples there at the beginning.
Yes.
And so the contrast is clear. The traditional manual processes rely on, spreadsheet tracking, which everybody can relate to, human dependent linking, prone to incomplete audit trails, high risk of missing records. But the AI assisted verify process replaces all of that with automated metadata extraction, direct linkage to PODS records, full traceability across the asset lifecycle, and a rapid audit and compliance reporting. So, final poll of the day.
Awesome. So, all right, so let's talk about AI, right? I mean, there's so much stuff going on with AI. In fact, we have some of our PODS members at their companies as a part of their annual reviews and compensation reviews. They have to show a certain percentage of AI usage in their day-to-day job in order to get through their annual review. Isn't that crazy that that's so much AI is so much a part of our lives now? So
Yep.
the question here is, where would AI-driven compliance help you most, right? Would it be a faster TVC package acceptance? Would it be less rework and document hunting? Would it be audit readiness on demand? Would it be scaling without added headcount? So, or you can do all of the above. So, of course, if you have an answer in here in any of these polls that we don't have one of the options up for you, please give us some feedback in the chat or in the Q&A, and we'd love to hear directly from what's going on with you guys, right? That's, again, I go back to the first pillar of PODS is community, right? How do we share with one another to help everyone better, right? So it looks like predominantly, Natalie, the vast majority, look, all of that, over 71% are saying all of the above. So it looks like you guys hit the nail on the head, and I'm assuming that you guys came up with this list of options based on your current workload with your current customers, right?
That's right.
Yep. Yep.
Awesome.
Another thing too that we didn't mention here that we're actually working on is actually extracting that. In this case, we're linking documents, but we're working on extracting that data to populate tables as well. So that's something
wow.
coming.
Awesome. All right, cool. All right, Natalie, you good to
All
go?
right.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so let's talk about what all this actually delivers to your organization. So there are 5 areas where the business value is most tangible, I think. So faster TVC package acceptance, your AI-driven pre-validation removes that bottlenecks before formal submission. I mean, it's really streamlines it. So less rework and document hunting, automated finding links and connects records, so the correction cycle really drops. Improved regulatory readiness, full audit trails and traceability compliance history available on demand, so you can see what you want to see, where it came from, everything about it. Greater confidence in the data, so your enterprise systems receive pre-certified PODS compliance data set. You know exactly what's going in. And fifth, it's scalable compliance workflows. The platform scales for future infrastructure programs without proportional headcount growth, right? These aren't marginal improvements. For large pipeline programs, this is the difference between meeting milestones and missing them. So let's wrap up here with some key takeaways. Natalie, you want to advance that for me?
Sorry.
So let's bring it home. 5 things to take away from today's episode. First, AI is reshaping infrastructure data governance, and pipeline data management is no exception. Secondly, Verified connects QA, QC, PODS compliance, and intelligent automation in one single platform. Third, the document linking creates a complete traceable compliance chain that meets TVC requirements at scale. Fourth, the large language model powered access opens complex data exploration to every team member. So anybody can speak it and it'll come out and make it work. So not just specialists. And I would be one of those using the larger language model. And fifth, Verified enables smarter, faster, audit-ready project delivery. So if your team is dealing with TVC compliance pain, you know, this is the direction the industry is moving.
So I use Verified on all of our projects that we have here at Petro IT, and I'm very excited about the document linking part of all this. It's been very helpful so far, and I'm ready to use it on a big project that we have coming up.
Hey, Monique, I think we're about done here.
Oh, awesome. Okay, great. So great job, y'all. That was really, really cool. I want to, before we get into talking about and wrapping it all up, we had a question that came up in the chat, if you guys don't mind. It says, once the AI has been trained on the document structure, can documents be loaded in bulk instead of being uploaded individually?
Yes, absolutely. Multiple documents can be uploaded at the same time.
How does that work? Can you walk through a little bit of that?
So we're not able to select the whole folder right now, but you can just do Control A and select everything in it. We're working on being able to select the folder itself. But it just, you select them all, it pulls them all in and starts processing immediately. In a few seconds, you've got your first one processed.
Yeah.
So are y'all doing that for your customers, or is this a part of the software that the operators are able to do this themselves?
It's both. I do it internally for our customers, and the software just does it for anybody who has it.
Okay.
Another big feature that's coming, actually, it may actually be next week, is auto classification. So you can take just for a number of 100 documents and throw them in the queue, and the program will read through those 100 documents and classify them, put them in a folder that they go in, MTR, NDT, reader sheet, whatever folder they belong, based on the intelligence that AI has. So it'll auto classify them, file them in the folder that they need to go in, which is a big time saver.
Okay. And then I have a question, like, some of this stuff can feel overwhelming. Any tips on where to get started in this brave new world that we have with AI and reading documents?
I mean,
So, yeah, go ahead, Nelly.
Ray. No, you go ahead, Ray.
No, I didn't really follow your question about any tips for what?
Like, yeah, where to get started? Like, where any tips? I know you guys have done this for a lot of your customers so far. Where do they start? Like, where once they've finally convinced their leadership to move forward with the resources and the funds and the people to get rocking and rolling, where should they get started? Any, and the reason why I ask this is because, again, as a community, we share, right, on best practices, and we want to learn from others' mistakes and hurdles, right? So where would you suggest that, besides calling 1-800 Petro IT, what should they do to get started, right?
So that would have been my answer, I guess, to call us for a demo or a a small pilot project or something. But Natalie, any suggestions on that?
I would say that if you did, get verified and you had it, then I would definitely start with your new data because you have time to, go back and forth with the vendors still on that and get those corrections from them. So I would start with new data and then move back into like your legacy data and start trying to get all those documents gathered up and put into a folder for, specific projects or specific sections of line or whatever the case may be, and then start moving on that stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And I don't know. We talked about running your enterprise tables too. Did we speak on that, Natalie?
No, we didn't.
So you can actually extract your tables out of your enterprise database and actually run those through and see where your gaps are really quickly. So, and you can run multiple routes at a time. So that's a good way to, even if you don't have a project, going to clean up your own house. Another thing is some companies are a little bit shy on the AI thing. So this is cloud-based, so it's not inside your enterprise firewall doing things. So there's really no danger there.
That's a good point, Rick.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, thank you all so much for that. Super informative. We really appreciate it. Like I said earlier, we're going to have this recording on our PODS YouTube channel, and also it'll be available on the PODS learning management system as well, that our member portal. So just want to do a quick heads up on some events that are coming up. We're all over the place. We are going to be, it's going to be a busy summer for sure. We have the Esri UC coming up next month. We are going to be in New Orleans in August, unfortunately/fortunately, for the Louisiana Gas Association conference. So, and I'm going to be there this year. I'm really excited to go see everybody and all my people. And Petro IT, you guys are going to be there too. I think you guys have a booth as well.
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, and then after that in August, we have another PODScast with Geonamic, and then September one with Magnolia River. It's going to be awesome. And then we have our next global summit is going to be in Calgary, and that's in adjacent to the IPCE. So you guys make sure that you go to pods.org and sign up for all the upcoming summits and forums as well. So then we're going to be doing the AGA Fall Committee meetings. We're going to be talking at the Esri Pipeline Seminar. And then we're going to, again, do our joint social with Esri as a part of their pipeline seminar in Houston and our fall forum in Houston. So that's going to be, again, at Topgolf. It's going to be a lot of fun. So save the date on the 20th and the 21st there. And then we're heading back to Europe for the second PODS Global Summit there this year in London for our European chapter. So we do two European summits every year now, one in Berlin in the spring and then one in London in the fall. So you guys please make sure that you sign up early and often for that one. And then we're going to be getting into the new year. And super exciting, we're going to be in Abu Dhabi this year for the MENA chapter meeting there for PODS and global for our global summit as well. Petro IT is going to be there, of course, helping us out because your colleague, Ghazal, is our MENA chapter coordinator. So she helps us out with all of that stuff, and we're really grateful for that. So it's going to be awesome. And then closing up, we have on our last slide our contact information. So if you have any questions of Natalie and of Rick, please, you have their email addresses here. Please reach out. If you have any questions for me, my email is there as well. And again, we want to say thank you so much for participating today. in the PODScast. And a big round of applause for Natalie and Rick for doing such a great job with us today. Any final closing words?
Thanks for being here, everybody. We
Yeah.
appreciate your time.
It's really nice to have people listening. So thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your day and be safe out there.